Well, first and foremost, we're going to make sure that before we formulate any plans, we're going to do what the president has directed us to do in the executive order, and what we would normally do even without the executive order, which is ask for input. So we put out in the Federal Registry a series of questions that we want those in the farming community, those in the forest community to respond to in terms of how we best can help and assist in creating support for climate smart agriculture. The president has set forth a fairly aggressive vision of a net zero emission agriculture by the year 2050. This is incredibly important, I think, for the long-term viability of markets for us, both internationally and domestically. More consumers around the world are demanding proof, if you will, of sustainability. And if America can get to a point where we are operating a net zero emission, we would not only help our climate effort, but I think we will also make our products more marketable in both the domestic and foreign markets. Carbon bank is certainly one of those options, but I would say that any effort in terms of the carbon sequestration or carbon bank has to be designed specifically for farmers. This is not a situation where the existing carbon market system would be particularly helpful. It's very cumbersome. There's a lot of paperwork. It's really not designed for farmers. The credit value is not high enough to justify farmers taking the financial cost that might be incurred in embracing some technologies or some practices. So what we need to do is figure out how we can structure an effort that speaks directly to farmers based on the input that they're going to give to us, and then basically creates the kind of incentive that's of interest to farmers, whether it's basically the ability to have credits sold through a reverse auction process, or whether we have a guaranteed price for credits that provides the incentive for those interested in purchasing the credits, or we have a circumstance where we're essentially funding and financing the improvements on the farm so the farmer's not in a position to have to incur additional expense, or a combination of those factors or some other factor that might make this market appealing. Then making sure that we walk before we run. We're not going to do this in a big, bold, huge way until we know how it might work. So if we do it, when we do it, we'll start relatively small so that we can learn from that experience and build on it so that we have a viable and trusted opportunity if that's what we decide to do. Sequestration is incredibly important. We're not going to get, I don't think, to our national goals without incorporating in some way, shape, or form carbon sequestration in the rural lands that represent roughly 3/4 of the land mass of the United States. Tremendous opportunity for us to increase farm income, create new job opportunities. Not just the only way of doing this. I think there's a lot of opportunities to reuse and reclaim methane. I think there's opportunities for us to turn agricultural waste into a variety of different products that creates new revenue streams and lowers the greenhouse gas footprint of farms. I'm excited about this future. I think it's doable. And I think, frankly, the farm community is ready for this if it's structured right, and if they feel like they're part of it. And that's what we're focused on doing.